always said the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary.
Hey everyone, my name is Andre Walton, the Southeast Regional Organizer for OWR, and welcome to the Revolution. Today my guest is Michael Beardsley, Democratic candidate for Wisconsin's 6th Congressional District. So thanks for coming on, Mike. How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We're really glad to have you on. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm Michael Beardsley. I'm running for Congress in Wisconsin's 6th District here. So where I live and work in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I actually grew up in Freedom, Wisconsin, which is just north of Appleton. I've been in Oshkosh for about 7 years now. Graduated from UW Oshkosh with a business degree in information systems, which brings me to where I am today. I work in IT consulting, do all sorts of process work for different clients globally, and decided to make this run for Congress.
Awesome. So kind of following up with that, what really made you make that decision to run for Congress? It's a big decision. It takes a lot of sacrifice. What made you really jump into the race?
Yeah, so it was interesting. So I like my career. I like my job. So it's different because I don't necessarily want to leave IT, but I saw an opportunity, and I just want to start out with, like, this wasn't in my career plan. I don't want to be a career politician. This isn't something that it's just a stepping stone for me personally to get where I want to get. So I saw an opportunity where I felt like this race was lacking a voice in a lot of the areas that I think are most important. And then simply, I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting for someone that's going to come along and fight for what I believe in. And I'm tired of waiting for someone to fight for the values, solutions, all the different things you see on my website and you'll hear me talk about. I wasn't seeing it in this race, and I don't want to go down the same path that we were the last couple cycles, where we lose by 10 points to Glenn Grothman just because he's Republican and the Democrat side's not really providing real solutions. So I want to be that voice that provides those.
Yeah, most definitely. So I did get a chance to check out your website. It looks like you're really championing some really good progressive policies, such as healthcare for all, changes in our voting. Can you kind of talk about some of the policies that you're really championing and what you're going to run your whole platform on?
Yeah, so the two big ones that kind of propelled me to run were climate change and healthcare, and there's more that you mentioned, like voting reform, public education, things like that, but climate change and healthcare are really the ones I'm most passionate about. I think we need to fight climate change now. We need to protect what we already have, and I just am not seeing a lot of that. At the national level, we're seeing a little bit, but still not as much as that we need. And the simple fact is the longer we kick the can down the road, the more inaction we have, the more expensive it's going to be down the road, the more issues we're going to have. So it's just something that we need to tackle now. And I think the break-even point is 2050, I believe, is what's thrown around, and that's 30 years away. So it's a lot quicker than a lot of people think. So it's something I'm very passionate about. And then healthcare, universal healthcare, I think I'll call it a quick win. I think it's something we needed years ago. We're behind every other country in the world almost. I don't get how it's tied to our jobs, and we're seeing that exposed right now where 30 million people are unemployed and now they don't have health insurance during a global pandemic. So universal healthcare, I think, is very important and very, very urgent for right now. But yeah, those are the big ones.
Yeah, most definitely. So I really noticed that I did get a chance to check out some of the candidates. I didn't get a chance to look at every detailed policy of the other candidates, but you're running against 3 other candidates, and that's going to be a tough race. So what distinguishes you from your other primary opponents? And also a follow-up with that is, why do you think you're the best candidate to run against Glenn Grothman?
Sure. So what distinguishes me is I'm different. I'm very solutions focused, and I'm not trying to put a dig on the other candidates. Maybe it's just I didn't read their website right or whatnot, but I just wasn't seeing the solutions put forward. I want to lead by example. I want to be that candidate where you think, oh, Michael Beardsley, he's got all these different plans, healthcare, climate change, voting reform, whatnot. You know exactly what I stand for, and it's very clear that if you're voting for me, you're voting for those ideas. You're not voting for me because of me, because you like me. I mean, that would be great, but that's not the plan. So That's how I think I'm different, and how I think I can beat Glenn Grothman is I think, one, let's be honest, he's very unpopular, even among his own party. But the fact of the matter is that Republicans in district or undecided voters they'll vote for what they know unless they have something better. And if we're not providing the solutions, the tangible solutions that you can see on paper, like if I have healthcare, universal healthcare, I'm better off. If they're not seeing that on paper, they're going to stick with what they know and vote Grothman. So I think I'm bringing something different, and I think this area needs something different. Historically, this area, they voted Bernie 2016 over Hillary. They wanted something different. They voted Trump 2016 over Hillary. They wanted something different. Whether they got what they wanted, they want something different. So I think that holds true in this race as well.
Yeah, yeah. One of the reasons why I think what kind of drew me to your candidacy is that it was very distinguished from the other candidates, and I think some of the points that you mentioned is that we have very little time to address climate change. We have very little time to address the crisis about healthcare. We have very little time to address these huge crises that our generation are going to really face today. And I think what really makes you different is you're having bold solutions. They're not necessarily new solutions, but very bold solutions. And so with those solutions, it can be very hard to, stick to those values because of the corruption in DC. I believe people like you and many people who go to Congress, they initially have intentions of going there and doing bold things and really trying something new, but kind of just fall into the fray of the establishment over time. How do you think you're going to be able to resist those type of pressures of just kind of falling into the establishment and sticking to those values you ran on?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of a funny question. I don't know if I've really ever thought about it, just because I'm not wired that way, I guess. Like I said before, I don't want to be a career politician. I'm not doing this for me. Honestly, that's exactly the part about politics that I hate. So it's kind of ironic that I'm the one running against, or I'm running for Congress, kind of right into the belly of the beast. But I guess that's how you make change sometimes. So it's not something that's in my DNA. I don't want to be a career politician. I want to be someone that gets stuff done. If universal healthcare gets done, we're fighting climate change. I did what I set out to do. So that's kind of the goal of this.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think when you have the support of something like OWR and other progressive networks, I think one of the things that we do is we always hold people that we support feet to the fire. So even if you get it elected, we're always going to be at your door knocking like, hey, Mike, remember what we supported you for? So I think that's always going to help too. So kind of switching subjects a little bit, I think I wanted to talk about COVID, the COVID crisis a little bit. So right now, Congress is really acting bold for corporations, but we don't see a lot of bold action for regular people and small businesses. I know you're not in Congress yet, but how would you address the crisis if you were in Congress, and what type of policies would you be proposing if you were in Congress today?
Yeah, this is a big one. I have a lot of thoughts on this, so I might be jumping around a little bit, but I mean, it's clear for everybody. I hope it's clear that Congress and the president has kind of failed us to this point. I mean, they sent us a $1,200 check and called it good. They bailed out some corporations. It's a mess right now. So I hope there's no arguments there. And I know we're hearing a lot of we need to reopen now or we need to stay locked down, and that's kind of the two polarizing arguments. And I honestly I see both sides of it. I see that people want to open back up, but I think their energy and their intentions are in the wrong place. Don't worry, I'm getting to my solutions, but I really think people should be focusing on, instead of opening back up, they should be focused on getting direct cash bailouts to people, because they feel like they have no choice right now. They need to open it back up to save their businesses, to save their financial livelihood, and they're willing to take the risk at this point, risking literally lives to open back up and sell goods. And I think that's wrong, and I think that's a failure on the government for shutting things down, but not really providing anything else financially to keep everyone whole during this time. So that leads to kind of what I was hinting at is we need monthly cash payments for people and businesses. We can't shut things down and just expect that it's just going to go away. It's working on a human level, but an economic level, it's not, and that's because we're not getting money in the hands of people that need it. And we got like I said, we got the $1,200 check that helped some people last month. I'm sure it helped me. It helps a lot of people, but we're on a new month and bills aren't frozen, so we have bills again. So kind of two-headed thing. If you're going to shut things down, we need to freeze payments, freeze rent, freeze mortgage, freeze student loans, freeze. I mean, you got to freeze it all. If you're shutting everything down, it's got to be frozen, and you have to put money in people's hands so that they can stay whole, because otherwise they're going to want to open back up and put us at risk. So, I'm a big proponent of a cash bailout. We almost got there, and I hope we get there. I know they're floating around $2,000 a month, and I hope it passes. I don't know if it will, but that's the route I would take. You need to give people money because that's what's hurting them right now.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's been happening as a result of exactly what you were talking about are you're seeing protests in multiple cities to reopen the economy, and it's very easy to say, hey, Republicans aren't going about this the right way, but I don't think everybody necessarily who are protesting about this closed economy are Republicans. I think there are some aspects of people who just want to see or want to be able to pay their bills. So having those direct cash payments is a way to, close the economy, but also keep people with money in their pockets without actually, hurting them. So I think that is a very good solution, and something that should have been proposed in the first bailout bill. And who knows if that's even going to happen. But yeah, that's a very good solution. And if we had you in Congress, maybe we would have a little bit more voice to something as a bold solution as that. So another thing that you had on your website that I found very intriguing that not a lot of politicians talk about, but you hear in progressive circles, and that's ranked choice voting. Can you kind of talk about ranked choice voting and how it would really make our election system a lot better than what it is now?
Yeah, so I love ranked choice voting. It's actually in place a few places around the states. I know Maine for sure. Obviously, other countries already have it in place, but I mean, the high level, I guess, gist of it is in elections where you have more than two candidates, you vote for your preference. So you have three candidates, you have first, second, third preference, and the votes are counted, and one person needs to obviously get over 50% of the vote to win or advance to the next round. And that's different from today, obviously, where someone can win with 30-40% of the vote, and that's not a majority, but it was one-on-one. And the other side had maybe 40%, the other side had 30 something percent, and then you had a third party with a little bit less. So I think where we are today is we're polarized today because of the voting system we have. So if we have ranked choice voting, it's more fair. We have more options, more voices. So I'll get back to kind of how it works again. But if no candidate has over 50% of the vote, there's a second round of counting the votes. So you don't have to re-vote. If your candidate had the fewest votes, that candidate gets thrown out. He's out. He or she is out. And then they re-vote. So if your candidate was out, your second choice is now your vote. So you keep continuing that cycle until someone has over 50% of the vote. So this can also save money. You don't even need primaries. I mean, that's a little extreme, but you can do single voting days and just have all the candidates on one ballot and rank choice vote just like that. But I just think it's a more fair way, gives people more options, and kind of gets rid of the polarization that we have in voting today.
Yeah. I think that's why it's a really good policy. I think one reason why that it isn't being proposed in Congress today is because it may threaten some incumbent seats, and
Absolutely, yeah.
that's why I think it's very bold of you to suggest that we do something like that. Because one, you're kind of showing that the primary and the battle of ideas is more important than just power, and you would rather have a fair election system than just keeping a seat. And I think that's very important as far as election integrity. So I think you're a really good candidate. You have some really bold ideas. You seem very enthusiastic and very intelligent. Can you tell people how they can help you out with your candidacy, what they can do, and where to go to help you out?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, beardsleyforcongress.com, also Facebook, Twitter, you can find on the website. As a lot of people might know, and a lot of people might not know, is we're in the middle of gathering signatures to get on the ballot. We need 1,000 signatures minimum just to make it on the ballot, and we have till June 1st, which is pretty close to this date. So the quickest way people can help is obviously they can donate. That's very appreciated. They can sign my papers if they live in the 6th district, because if I don't make it on the ballot, then we're stuck at square one. So those are the two big things, and I'll have plenty of volunteer opportunities after June 1st, but 100% on the signatures right now.
Awesome. Fun fact: I live in the 6th district, so I will be able to sign a signature for Mike, and I'll be able to vote for him. So I'm super excited for that. Is there anything else you want to talk about your candidacy before we kind of end this?
I guess I'll just kind of wrap it up with kind of the high level theme. I hope it came across clear that this campaign it's not about me. I hope it is clear that it's about different ideas and different solutions. I want people to have a better life. I hope every candidate wants that, but I want to show tangible reasons how we can get there. And that's really the driving theme. Like you said, ranked choice voting is a little bold because we live in a world of gerrymandering. So some people don't want to lose their seat. They'd rather keep it how it is. I don't care. I want the best ideas to win. I want the best ideas to pass in Congress because we all benefit. I benefit whether I'm passing them or not. So I want the best ideas to come forward, and I want to lead by example. So I hope that the theme is clear for my campaign.
Well, if it's not clear to anybody else yet, it's very clear to me. But yeah, man, good luck with your candidacy. I'm rooting for you. And if you can't actively volunteer, please go to his website, donate to him. We need more grassroots candidates in office. It's very important that we have voices for the regular people so we can get bailouts for people and not just corporations. So let's keep this fight going. Let's get them on the ballot and let's get them in Congress. And if we organize, we can do this. And even though we're a little hamstringed by COVID, that's not going to stop us. So, well, I appreciate you coming on, Mike, and good luck with your candidacy, man.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, this was awesome. I appreciate our Wisconsin Revolution doing all this. All the support. So I look forward to kind of helping with the future. So, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
We always say the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary.